Hi there, I'm Kate Petty. I am LG CreateBoard Specialist and Trainer, and today we're coming to you with the top 5 settings that we would suggest you take a look at and adjust as you are setting up your Chrome OPS on your CreateBoard for the first time. So before I get into those settings though, let me just talk to you a little bit about what a Chrome OPS is. You'll hear me say that a lot, and I just don't want to confuse you. So on the right-hand side of your CreateBoard is a little slot, and your organization has chosen to add a Chrome OPS to that. Chrome OPS is literally a small Chromebook that has been slotted in so that when you go to the input of PC and launch it, your CreateBoard becomes a gigantic Chromebook that is completely touch enabled. You should see everything on that Chrome OPS that you would normally see when you log into your account on a Chromebook, one of the smaller Chromebooks. So with that, let's take a look at the top 5 settings that we would suggest you take a look at and set as soon as you can. Okay, so let's take a look at those settings that we would suggest that you play around with and set to your own preference as soon as you get your Chrome OPS. A couple of them are a little more crucial than others. To get to settings, we're just going to get down to the shelf here. On the right-hand corner, you'll see the time. I'm going to tap the time, and then just above the time is this gear shift. So I'm going to tap the gear shift, and it'll launch into the settings. On the left are the categories, and the middle are the options for those categories. The very first thing, which is the most important thing, if you don't do this, you may be kind of banging your head against a wall a little bit here, is to go to System Preferences and then Power. You want to make sure that when idle, it says Keep Display On. And most likely you have sleep or turn off display as what is the default there. Now, if it goes to sleep or if the display turns off, on these CreateBoards, there's no way to jiggle that awake. So you would actually have to shut the whole board down and then restart it again in order to continue using the Chrome OPS. So when you keep display on, the display will stay on no matter what until you choose to turn it off with the little power button on the frame in the bottom right-hand corner, either when you're done for the day or when you're done using the board for the day. So number 1, please, please, please go to System Preferences, Power, and change that idle setting to Keep Display On. So the next thing we're going to look at are the display settings. I'm going to go to Device and then Display. You may have noticed when you launched your Chrome OPS that the writing and the font, everything is just too small for a lot of your students to be able to see. I've got mine set at 200%. That's kind of the preference that I choose. You can choose to go smaller. You can choose to go much larger. I wouldn't go too large because then you don't have a lot of real estate to work with on the board. Try to kind of go the smallest that you think will work. And that students can still see the board, and you can still see the board at the back of the room. So that's, again, Device, Display, and then Display Text and Size. Change that to what your preference is. The next one is creating a lock code and noting where the lock code is for the board. There are going to be times when you want to just lock the board down. Maybe you're headed out of the room for recess or lunch, or you just don't want little fingers on the board at all, and you just want to lock the screen so that nobody's able to access it. You can, by the way, lock the screen by just going to that same menu in the bottom right-hand corner and tapping the power button, and then that last option there, lock, is how you would lock the screen. And to set the password for unlocking the screen, you'll come here. So again, Privacy and Security, go down to the third one, Lock Screen. It'll ask you to put what your password is in so that you know, or it knows that you're legitimately putting in, a code, and then it'll ask you to put a PIN code in. This is also where you'll come to change your PIN code if you, for some reason, maybe someone finds what your PIN code was, or you just want to add extra layers of security by changing it every once in a while. So put in your password here, then it'll allow you to create a PIN, and then you'll be able to use that lock screen if you choose to. So the next thing in settings you want to do, of course, is to change your wallpaper and style. Let's make this yours, right? So if you click on wallpaper and style just above that, and I tap this, it'll open a little window. My strong suggestion would be to close the bigger window behind it so that as you're looking at the different wallpapers, you can see what those wallpapers look like behind the board or behind this little window. So we have a whole video dedicated just to customization of the Chrome OPS on the next video. So I'm not going to get too much into this, but just know that that exists. So the last thing I would suggest you do is to create some bookmarks in your Chrome browser. So I've got Chrome open right now. This is the full browser, and it is set up under my LG demo account, which means that anything that I put into the bookmark bar on my computer, my laptop, will show up on this as well, pretty immediately, actually. So what I do is I put all of my different websites into folders. And when I was teaching, I would have, if I was teaching, let's say, the Book Thief, I was an English teacher, I would have a folder for Book Thief, and all of my websites that I used for Book Thief would be in that folder in this bookmarks bar, and I could access them very, very quickly. And then when I was done teaching the Book Thief, I'd delete that folder and start the new folder for the next unit. And I'd have, the different units for my different classes up here. So I would suggest, creating folders, organizing these bookmarks so that there's super easy access to just pull up and get these websites when you need to. Now, if you're not sure how to do bookmarks and folders, don't forget that in Chrome, the URL box is called the Omnibox. On the right-hand side of the Omnibox is the star, and that will let me add bookmarks and or organize my bookmarks. And you'll see that I've created folders on my folder or my bookmark bar, and these are the different folders that I could choose to put my website in. Now, they only show about 5 or 6 of my folders. I have way more than that. So you want to just go to all bookmarks if it's not showing you, you just want to go to choose another folder if it's not showing you all the bookmarks, and then you can choose which folder you want it to go into. And to create a bookmark folder, by the way, you're going to right click or just hold down on the bookmark bar for the CreateBoard and click Add Folder there at the bottom. What I would suggest you do is add the folders and then drag and drop all of the little bookmarks that you have into the folders that you've just created. Again, I would do all of this organization on my laptop. I would not do it on the CreateBoard simply because this is a really large canvas and it can get kind of confusing and overwhelming a little bit. So organize your bookmarks on your laptop in the same Chrome profile that you're using on the CreateBoard, and you'll be able to access all of your websites with ease once you get on to the CreateBoard. All right, so those are the top 5 settings that we would suggest that you make and set as you're setting up the Chrome OPS in your classroom. Remember, the first thing you want to do is go to that power setting and make sure that your Chromebook never sleeps, right? Change that idle setting to keep display on. The second thing we want you to do is go to the display setting and change the scale to fit your needs. It may be a little too small for you right now, so you're going to probably want to magnify it just a little bit. I had mine at 200% and I like it, but every classroom is different and every classroom's needs are different. The third thing we'd ask you to do is take a look in the privacy and security and set a passcode for your Chrome OPS. That way, whenever you lock the Chrome OPS down, if you're going to recess or what have you, you're able to unlock it very, very quickly. And then if you ever need to change the lock, you'd go to the same place to change that lock. The fourth thing we suggest you do is customize it, and that is the next video. So if you keep watching, you'll be able to see the top 5 customization features that we would suggest you do with your Chrome OPS. But change that wallpaper, change those themes, do what you want to do with that. And finally, because you have access to the full Chrome browser, I would suggest hopping on your own laptop or your teacher computer, not the CreateBoard, and organizing your bookmarks bar just a little bit. So create some folders, drag some of your most used websites into some folders so that you're able to easily access them without having to type in or search for the websites that you're looking for when you're on the Chrome OPS with your students. So those are your top 5 settings. We'll catch you on the next video.